Well, here we are again. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Christmas is upon us. The weather is changing. Christmas music is in the air. Christmas movies are on the Hallmark Channel. Christmas trees have been for sale. The wreaths are on the door. Children are on their best behavior. They're on tiptoes of anticipation of things they are expecting. And anyone that's engaged and connected in the life of a child, and those of us who can remember our own childhood, can probably give an early amen when I suggest to you that for a child, there's no greater season of the year than the season of Christmas. As a matter of fact, if you can recall your own childhood memories, I would probably suggest to some of you that you look forward to Christmas almost, if not more, than your own birthday. Then maybe that carol is right, that it really is the most wonderful time of the year. Some of us have fond memories of decorations being up in the house, memories of festivities of families and friends gathering. But there really is no greater joy for a child than the anticipation and the excitement of the gift that's going to be underneath that tree. Now, as you get older as a parent, a grandparent, an aunt or an uncle, you quickly realize that there's another side of Christmas. Not just the joy of childhood, but the frustration of parents who have to provide. Those of us who have children can testify that Christmas is not only joyful, but it can be also frustrating. Because every parent knows that every year, there's one hot Christmas gift that's on every child's list. There's that one that they've got to have. Every boy and girl tells their mama and daddy, I want this for Christmas. And I can't prove this, but I believe that children form a union with their other friends to lay pressure on their parents to say, this is the gift I've got to have, because all of my friends have it. And you don't want to be the one that sends your kid back to school without having what everybody else has. If you can afford it, and if you can get it, and if they deserve it, we want to defy the laws of supply and demand to give our children that one hot gift that they want, just to express your love. And if you can't find it online, if you're not careful, you will find yourself moving from Walmart to the mall and even to Target. You try to defy the laws of supply and demand to get that one hot gift that everybody wants. You know, they say confession is good for the soul. So let me confess something today. It is that law of supply and demand that forever scarred my Christmas in 1979. I need you to walk back with me therapeutically. The year is 1979. I was 7 years old. And I wanted what every child wanted for Christmas in 1979, the Atari 2600. Some of y'all don't know anything about that because the Atari 2600 allows you to play at home probably some of the greatest games ever known to humankind, like Space Invaders, Centipede, Miss Pac-Man, come on now. And every child wanted it, including me, Charles Montgomery Jr. And my 7-year-old self, without subtlety or hint, told Charles Montgomery Sr. and Gwendolyn Montgomery that I want and I expect an Atari 2600 as my Christmas gift. And then, y'all, I did everything I knew to earn that bad boy. My grades were good. I kept my room clean. I was on my best behavior. I didn't get a spanking for 3 months. And I just knew that come Christmas morning, I was gonna get an Atari 2600. December 25th came, and let me tell you all about my Christmas. To this day, I can remember almost 40 years later, every gift I got in 1979. My Aunt Kay got me what she always gave me, some underwear and socks. My brother and sister got me some Old Spice cologne, even though I told you I was only 7 years old. 7 years young, getting some Old Spice. But there was one box left big and wrapped, and I just knew It was the Atari 2600. I opened it up, and what my dad got me was one of those race car tracks that you plug in and squeeze the handle and the car zooms around. And I kept looking under the tree. There just had to be one more gift because I had earned that Atari 2600. There was no Atari there. And I looked at my dad. He apologetically said, I waited too long, and it was sold out at the stores. I had a disgust and a disappointment I couldn't hide. Because I told y'all 3 months ago that I wanted an Atari 2600, and you waited too long to get it. And I said in good 70-year-old fashion, well, this just ain't Christmas. Y'all, my dad looked back at me, and he was old school, and he said, boy, you get Christmas every day. When the mortgage is paid and I don't ask you for nothing, Merry Christmas. When you open the refrigerator and you don't have to pay for the sandwich you're about to make, Merry Christmas. When you flip the light switch and the lights come on, Merry Christmas. When you get in the shower and the water is hot as you wash, Merry Christmas. He was trying to get me to recognize the gifts and the blessings I took for granted. But listen, how many of you all who are born-again believers in Jesus Christ know we ought not take for granted how our Father blesses us? That when He woke us up this morning, He blessed us. When the blood was running warm in our veins, He blessed us. When we got to church or you logged online, that's a blessing. In spite of what you went through this year, you're still here, and that is a blessing. And sometimes, perhaps the greatest gift we take for granted is our Father's love. See, just like me, as a child, as children of God, sometimes we too are confused about what real love really looks like. Let me remind you what it looks like. John 3:16, some of you know it by heart. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. He loves us so much that He sent His Son in love to come down for us. Not only does love come down for us, but Jesus died for us. So love came down for us, love died for us, and why does that matter? Because if love came down for us and love died for us, then love ought to be on display within us. The Apostle John goes on to tell us in 1 John chapter 4 that since God loved us and sent us His Son, we also, like God, ought to love one another. In other words, God's love becomes our motivation to love others. You see, Christmas is not just a story about God's love. It's also about God giving us the power to love others deeply. We need God's help to love God, but also to love people. We often don't get to choose who we love and who we don't. Some of you are in a hard marriage, and it's painfully difficult to love your spouse right now. Or maybe you have a son or a daughter who makes it difficult to love. Some of you are forced to work closely with somebody who tests you in every way, and the idea of loving them seems ridiculous. Maybe you're dealing with a family member or a friend that sucks the life out of you, and you want to avoid them. This is why we need to remember the power of the Christmas story. It's first a story about God's love, but it's also a story about our love for others. So let me simply ask you, what kind of person are you becoming this Christmas? Who are you becoming? My hope and prayer is that you will sit in the wonder of God's love for you, and it will move you to pour out His love to others around you. Listen, God chose to love you, and you and I ought to make a choice this Christmas